What's up, guys? UFC Fight Night, Qatar. Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker is this weekend. And I'm super excited to bring you guys my predictions and breakdown for this entire card. We're going to start with the early prelims and end with the main event. But first, we're going to announce the giveaway that we do for every single pay-per-view where you guys can win $100. So, what you will have to do to enter: come to Tapology.com, create an account. Once you've created an account, or if you already have one, sign in. Then you're going to come to Tapology.com/groups/2048 and then join it. Once you join that group, I will accept the invitations. I'm the owner of the group. And as soon as you join it, you will be eligible to then be up for the giveaway. It's only on pay-per-views, and I give away the money the week after the pay-per-view if you win it. So, like our winner from last week, EJTDCF, he will be getting $100. Pretty much the second the card starts. Jesus Christ. Anyways. Congratulations to him for winning last week. He did win $100 since he didn't tie or anything. He won $100. I'll be paying that out this Saturday right before the fight start. And then we will move right into the fight picks. So, doing what I do here will be how you qualify to make the $100 and just win the group. So, we're going to start with the first fight of the night. We've got Merrick Bujulio versus Denzel Freeman. I am going to be picking Denzel Freeman. I think that he's more well-rounded. He's going to get this fight to the ground and then finish off this other blob. We can do a coin flip for them since there aren't any women on this card. I'm just saying. You guys let me know in the future. If you want to flip for blob fights when there aren't women fights on the card, we can do that. Anyways, moving on to the next fight. We've got Nurullo Aliyev versus Shaquem Rock, or Shamrock, as they've been calling him. I'm going to pick Nurullo Aliyev by decision. I think this is just a little too much too soon for Shamrock. He is one of these Cage Warriors guys, if I'm not mistaken. I have no clue what... I think that's Cage Warriors. I don't know. I don't know where this guy fights out of. I haven't watched his fights. I know that he's got good grappling. But against a guy like Nurullo Aliyev, I just don't see that being amazing. He does come out of the same gym as Paddy Pimblett, if I'm not mistaken, Shamrock. But I just don't think that's going to be quite enough to defeat the guy like Nurullo Aliyev. He is very similar to how Khabib was, very grapple-heavy style, and just neutralizes your ground game. Oh, Jesus. All right, here's my most hated fighter on the roster. We've got Ryan Loder versus Ismail Nardiev. I cannot stand Ryan Loder. Okay, so we've got a guy in Ryan Loder who is a wrestler against a guy in Ismail Nardiev who has had some struggles with grapplers in the past. Dude, I don't want to pick this man. I am picking Ryan Loder. I'm going to pick him to get a finish. in round number 2. I think that the top game is going to be too much. And I'm going to be so mad watching this fight because Ryan Loder will be winning it. I can't stand Ryan Loder. This dude sucks. His fight style's boring. I hope my fight pick is wrong. But Ismail Nurdiev, although he's very experienced, it's like he doesn't use it. He doesn't understand how to, like, maintain distance or manage distance. He doesn't understand where the takedown threats are. There's a lot he doesn't understand, and I just think that a grappling base is going to be able to beat him the majority of the time as long as you're a strong grappler, and sadly, Ryan Loder is a somewhat strong grappler. Round 2 TKO. Finally, we move up into a very good fight. We've got Bekzat Almakhan versus Alexandre Topuria. This is going to be a very good fight, near even on the betting odds, at least on Tapology. We've got 36% and 64% on Tapology for like the community picks. This is a great fight. I think people are kind of underestimating what Almakhan can do here. I'm going to be picking Bekzat Almakhan. I do think that Alexandre Topuria is very good, very skilled. He has good grappling, good striking, just like his brother. He doesn't seem to have that dynamic, like, X factor of KO power like his brother does. And I do think that matters. I do think that Ilya's style is not as good when you take away the shots that absolutely murder people. But that's part of his style, so you can't take that away. Alexandre Topuria is that without the power. I'm going to be picking Bekzat Almakhan to get a round 1 KO over Alexandre Topuria. This is the same guy that dropped Umar Nurmagomedov pretty bad in their fight, and although he did go on to lose, it wasn't like how some of these other fights with Umar go. It was a decision. I mean, a lot of them go to decision, but it wasn't as dominant as some of these other decisions have been, although this might have been when Umar wasn't quite to the level that he's at right now. Also, it could have been that it was, if I remember right, short notice for Umar. I can't remember that one right offhand. But I'm thinking it was short notice, too, for Umar, and that could have also given him quite the surprise, like, in the mix-up of opponent. I'm going to be picking Bekzat Almakhan by round 1 KO. I do think his striking and grappling are very good. And I think they're just a hair better than Alexandre Topuria's. Although Topuria's style might give him some issues. Yeah? What are you talking about, Lemon? Sorry, my cat just being emotional, I guess. We move to the light heavyweight division in a fight, if you will. I don't know that this guy should not be also investigated by the UFC or by the FBI. Rafael Cicada, or whatever you want to call this guy, Cicada, whatever he is a nobody. He has never won a fight in the UFC. He's not going to win a fight in the UFC. This is one of the few guys that you look at his regional scene and you understand, oh, well, he had a bunch of fights against guys who were barely recorded, that had no experience in MMA. He literally fought a 1-1 guy. We're at 11 fights ago. Or not 11 fights ago. 10 fights into his career, he was fighting a 1-1 guy. This is when he was undefeated at 10-0? Hello, Lemon. Here. Go to your bed, young lady. Anyways, so Rafael Cicada was 10-0 fighting a 1-1 guy. Or 9-0 fighting a 1-1 guy going into this fight. He became 10-0 from this fight, sorry. Anyways, Yakiaev came in, got a finish on Contender Series. He's looked impressive in every fight. I do think that he's going to end up KOing Rafael Cicada in round number 1, just like everyone else. There you go. There's your pick for that. All that to say, round 1 KO. Moving on to the flyweight division, we've got Alex Perez versus Asu Almobayev, and I hate this fight because I have to pick Asu Almobayev due to the injuries of Alex Perez. And I want to pick Alex Perez. He is the better fighter of these two guys, but what Alex Perez is going to show up, you never know. This is a guy who gave Muhammad Mokaev a hard fight, and I think Muhammad Mokaev is a better fighter than Asu Almobayev, especially in the grappling. But it is what it is. Asu Almobayev takes down all his opponents, so I'm going to be picking Asu Almobayev to just get the takedowns over and over and slowly get a decision victory over Alex Perez. Very Hamzat versus DDP or Islam versus JDM. Why is it that these Dagestani or cliff-dwelling fighters seem to have these extremely boring fights against guys who have acronyms for names like JDM, DDP? Don't let them fight RDR. Don't let them fight these guys. No more three-letter acronym guys for cliff-dwelling fighters. No more of this. Maybe Alex Perez wins because of that. Anyways, decision by Almobayev is my pick. Saigid Izagak Maev versus Nicholas Dalby the Elf. Tough fight to call because you have a guy who has never fought in the UFC. He is a Habib, an Eagle FC, and a 1FC guy. Has not fought in 3 years. God, I want to pick Nicholas Dalby to win this fight. And he's a takedown artist, too. Oh, Dalby might win this, guys. He's a big underdog, too. Barely lost to Renat. He won that fight. Beat Muslim Sadikov. Beat Gabriel Bonfim. I'm picking Dalby. I'm picking Dalby the Elf. No, I'm not. I'm picking Saigid. I just can't bring myself... I don't know. This is a tough fight. This is a tough fight to pick because you have a guy who has never been in the UFC, coming off a 3-year layoff, fighting Nicholas Dalby. In my opinion, one of the tougher asks in the UFC. Like, this is a guy you don't want to pull as your debut. I'm going to pick Saigid by decision. Man. I don't love the pick. I'm not confident in it. All right, guys. Now we move up to down into the featherweight division. We've got Luke Riley versus Bogdan Grad. I do not like Bogdan Grad. I don't think that he's a very good fighter. He's beaten some very mediocre fighters other than Michael Aswell. I thought Michael Aswell was a decent fighter, if I remember right. At this point, I can't remember. I would have to see him to remember what he looks like. So many guys come and go in the UFC at this point, it's hard to keep track. Luke Riley, a Cage Warriors veteran. So that other guy was not from Cage Warriors that we were talking about earlier because the CW is Cage Warriors. A lot of TKOs. He's looked great lately. I am going to be picking Luke Riley by round 2 TKO. I think that he is going to not apply pressure. I think Bogdan Grad's going to be the one applying pressure, getting landed on. His guard's not very great. And Luke Riley's striking has looked so improved in these last few fights. I'm going to be picking him to KO Bogdan Grad in round number 2. I don't think Bogdan Grad's going to have too much other than pressure for him, though. Moving on to the flyweight division, we have a somewhat legend of the flyweight division versus Tagir Ulanbekov. We've got Kyoji Horiguchi versus Tagir Ulanbekov. Kyoji Horiguchi is a guy who has not lost at flyweight other than to Demetrius Johnson. He genuinely has never lost a fight at flyweight other than Demetrius Johnson. I am going to pick Kyoji Horiguchi. And this will surprise many on this channel because we know I do not pick Asian fighters with a consistent basis. But there are specific times where I will, Kyoji Horiguchi being one of those small exceptions. This is his second stint in the UFC. He was undefeated until he fought Demetrius Johnson as a flyweight. He then moved to different organizations, went up to bantamweight, down to flyweight, still won every single fight that he had been in at flyweight. I will be picking Horiguchi. He only lost at bantamweight. Yes, he lost to Kaya Sakura. Yes, he lost to a couple other guys. Those were all at bantamweight. He literally won't, like, I'm pretty sure he redeemed every fight that he lost. So he got the wins back and looked better. Lost to Sergio Pettis after dominating him. Beat him again. Or he fights him again, wins. I will be picking Horiguchi to win this fight. I'm going to be picking unanimous decision for Kyoji Horiguchi. Weird to pick that in Qatar. Ooh, short notice fight. Glad that we waited in the day to get this fight announced. We've got Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Shamil Gaziev. I hate to do this, man. I'm picking Waldo Cortez Acosta to pick apart. Do I do round two? Maybe round... I don't know. This is either going to be a decision or a KO. I'm going to pick KO round two for Waldo Cortez Acosta. I think that he's just been on fire lately. For one, just finished Ante Delija. Yes, he lost to Sergey Pavlovich by decision, but that's not a bad loss to have. Pavlovich had a motivation against him, if you will. He has that motivation against every guy that looks similar to Waldo Cortez Acosta. But I think Cortez Acosta has really, really good striking for a heavyweight especially. He's very elusive for the most part. Like, as a blobby kind of heavyweight, like the looks of a blobby heavyweight, he does have good elusive footwork. Kind of hard to hit sometimes for a heavyweight. And Shamil just... he's decent, but you just don't know how good he is. And every time these guys have been breaking into this like top 10 range lately when they're just not quite tested yet, you know. I mean, he's beaten Dontel Mays, Thomas Peterson, lost to Jairzinho Rosenstruck. This is like that Jairzinho Rosenstruck step up again, you know. I think that he's going to take that kind of step again, but Cortez Acosta is just a little more dangerous than the Salsa Boy was, you know, or not Salsa Boy. He is the Salsa Boy, than the Biggie Boy was. I will be picking Waldo Cortez Acosta by round 2 KO. I think that this is a pretty viable thing to happen. Man. We've got, in our next fight at welterweight, Jack Hermansson versus Miktabek Orobai. 37 versus 27. This is not right. He's not 27 years old. He is in the hundreds of millions of years old. I would say that's closer to 2,700 million years old. Like, 270 million years old. You know, this dude is old, ancient. He has the ways. He understands, you know, that he has so much more experience than Jack Hermansson after being thawed out. This guy used to battle velociraptors, T-Rexes. He genuinely was... If you've heard him in the corner when he's talking to Uriah Faber and the other guys from California, weirdly, he'll be screeching like... And they'll be like, all right, Miktabek, you got to move your feet, you know? And he'll just screech back at them and goes and does it. It's pretty amazing to see. I've got Miktabek. I am going to be picking him by round decision. I don't know. I do think Jack Hermansson, if it goes to decision, probably wins. I'm just not sure how he looks at welterweight, though. He was a not small middleweight, but I don't know. I just don't see him being as big. Like, I don't know. I've got Miktabek Worldwide by decision. I don't see it actually happening now that I'm thinking about it. Maybe the age and weight cut catch up to Hermanson. I'm gonna be picking Worldwide by KO round 1. I don't think he has that kind of power though. That's my problem. We move up to the light heavyweight division. We've got Volkan Ozdemir versus Alonzo Minifield. I think this is a very easy to fight to call. Volkan's nickname is No Time for a reason, and I think people forget, man. People really forget. His name was No Time. This is Volkan Ozdemir. And he's gonna get the round 1 KO here. But I do think that Volkan Ozdemir is a way, way better fighter than Alonzo Minifield. This line should not be this close. This is close in my opinion. This is way closer than it should be. Alonzo Minifield is not very good, and Ozdemir has technique and KO power. If Alonzo Minifield doesn't just flatline him, Volkan will get him. Anyways, I've got round 1 KO by Volkan Ozdemir. I think this is a lock. I think this is very easy for Volkan Ozdemir. Moving on to the welterweight division, 3-round co-main event between Belal Muhammad and Ian Gary. I am going to be picking. This is actually a tough fight to call. I do think that people need to remember Belal Muhammad dominated Stephen Thompson. Absolutely dominated him, took him down at will, took him down every time he really tried, if I'm not mistaken. And Shavkat Rakhmonov wasn't able to take him down until the second round. After wearing him down, getting some time, Shavkat was able to take down Ian. It was clinch-based takedowns. Ian was able to reverse a couple of them, so I could see him reversing some of Belal's takedowns. I am going to be picking Ian Gary by round 2 head kick. I think he's going to land a head kick on Belal Muhammad, who is quite vulnerable to head kicks. And I think he's actually going to finish the fight here. I think Belal Muhammad being 37 is not in his benefit. He's going to be pushing as hard as he can, I would assume, to pressure and, get Ian Gary to the ground, although Ian's footwork makes him extremely elusive. Kind of hard to shoot straight shot takedowns on. So I do think this is going to be a hard fight for Belal Muhammad. Ian Gary is huge at 6'3", 74 inches of reach. I think that's going to be a massive issue for Belal on the feet especially, and I think it's going to lead him into a head kick. Moving on to the main event, we've got Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker, and I think this is a pretty easy fight to pick here. Outside of Dan Hooker landing knees up the middle and actually being able to stop the takedowns, which I don't think he's going to be able to, I'm going to be picking round 3 KO for Arman Tsarukyan. I think he's going to get ground and get Dan Hooker down to the ground and just start wearing on him immediately. Honestly, I could see this happening in the first or second round, but I'm going to be picking round 3. Dan Hooker is extremely tough, so I do think it may take a little longer. All right. These are going to be my picks. I'm going to go back over them quite slowly, kind of fast, and give my confidence levels of them. Arman Tsarukyan by KO round 3. I have a very high confidence in this, like about 90%, like how Tapology is. Ian Gary to KO Belal by round 2 head kick. I have it as a pretty solid chance. I would say 60%. This is a tough fight still for Ian Gary, but I do lean Ian Gary pretty heavily. Volkan Ozdemir by KO round 1. I am lock. Oral by KO round 1. I am so iffy on that. I don't want to pick it. Ronaldo Cortez Acosta by KO round 2. I think that's a lock. Horiguchi by decision. I'm iffy on that one. 65% just because of being in Qatar. Luke Riley by KO round 2. Pretty confident in it. Is Gakmaev? Not confident. Almobayev by decision. Not confident. Yakyayev by round 1 KO. Extremely confident. Lock it in. Almakhan by KO round 1. I'm kind of confident in it. Scared. Ryan Loder, another one I'm not confident in. Aliev by decision. I'm pretty confident in that. And then Denzel Freeman by KO round 1, I am extremely confident in. These are my picks, everyone. You guys can do this and make $100 on every single pay-per-view. We've got Merab versus Piotr Yan and Pantoja versus Joshua Van coming up as the next pay-per-view. So you guys get ready for that. Join the Tapology. You guys can make $100 if you win the Tapology group. All you have to do is make fight picks just like I did and win our group. There's only 22 people in it, so you can win pretty easy. Have a great day, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a fantastic fight night. See you later.